It's exciting.
No, it's not.
It's literally the highlight of the podcast.
Quiet, Rob, because Joel's not here. You get interrupted. Welcome to the Weekly Pull, our weekly podcast of pop culture goodiness and all the kinds of splooging of Rob all over the screen. I'm one of your hosts, Benny the Comic Historian, joined today by Rob from Comics Explained, Sal from ComicPOP, and Jason from JAWIIN. You also might know him from DC All Access. Jason, since you're the newest host on the channel here, why don't you let us know what projects you have going on that you want to let them know about?
I always have Geek History Lesson, which is our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, where we teach you about characters of pop culture. This week is Cat Grant, because we're tying into Supergirl Rebirth. Supergirl #1 comes out this week. DC All Access is every single weekday, and then you can watch all kinds of videos on youtube.com/JAWIIN, JAWIIN. I've started doing this series where I'm giving you comic books that you should read based around a character, and I got one based on Supergirl that has a little nice little voice of Benny in it that you might love.
I had to do my favorite. Like I'm not gonna spoil, but I personally love the story I picked out. So
it all works.
All right, guys. So today we're gonna get right into it because we're actually a little bit late today. For those of you who know our normal time, actually, for those of you who know our normal time, you know we're never on time. So
yeah. We are earlier than we usually are. Yay!
we're actually earlier. Yeah. But let's go ahead and talk about the first topic of the day. Robbie Reyes officially on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4. We've known that for a while, but the trailer finally came out. That's what makes it important now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am excited for this, and here's the reason why. When they were talking about Ghost Rider, I was like, okay, maybe Johnny Blaze, but how does a Daredevil fit into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like just some crazy guy doing stunts and stuff. But Robbie Reyes is like from the streets, you know, like he knows what's up. Like he's from the grind, you know, he's seen some stuff. But no, like in truth, he fits in with that kind of thing because you've got the dark street element with Netflix, and while I wouldn't put that much money behind a Ghost Rider Netflix series, putting him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a great way to test him, to see whether or not people like him.
I think so. I think that. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that I agree with you, Rob, that it's a test. I think Ghost Rider represents a lot of things for Marvel without being the most strong entry, because they're like, okay, we're going to introduce magic before Doctor Strange. Right now, we're going to show you how magic works, and we're going to gauge your reaction to it, and that will probably determine how we treat magic when Doctor Strange comes out. That way we'll either be like, yeah, magic, bitch, you guys love this stuff. Or they're going to be like, nah, Thor was right, it's really more like high science, and it's not actually magic. If you really have a problem with the Robbie Reyes thing, and like Marvel fans or people who would, the general populace who are aware of Marvel cinematic have a real severe reaction to it, they're going to be like, okay, we have to make a heel turn on this. Similarly, they're also like, people kind of got lukewarm on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they get lukewarm every season. People are like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still on? This is going to be the make or break season, I think, and it's going to really depend on, like, I think Marvel's like, we've been teetering on the edge of killing the show for a while. Let's pin it on the comic book fans and see if they come out in droves to watch Ghost Rider show up. Like, because people have been complaining about how there's no superheroes, and like, we got Lady Sif, thanks. Like, that's kind of it. And like the worst Deathlock ever, which is amazing because it's the first Deathlock ever. But you still get this dude who's on fire, who will probably only be on fire for the first and last episodes of the season.
Well, I mean, going on what you said before, I feel like that's how every season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starts out with. Every season we've been like, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this. And like by episode 10, everyone's like, I stopped watching that. Like 5 episodes.
Oh, no, I disagree, man. Season 3 was amazing.
And
I love season 3.
You like the Power Rangers style in Humans?
No, but I like the plot.
I like that I like you guys that you guys were all like, oh, I'm excited at the beginning of the season, but by the end of the season, I don't know. Like, because for me, I jumped out at season 2. And then when Agent Carter showed up, I was like, this is the show that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should have been. And then when they canceled Agent Carter, I was like, what?
Again, that was a good show.
Here's the funny thing about Ghost Rider. This is what I'm kind of curious about, because with Ghost Rider, you're not just delving into magic. You know, you're delving into like sorcery, and you're delving into like demons and hell. Yeah. And so my question is, like, are they going to go for it? Are they just going to go broke? Are they just like, you know what? Let's bring in hell. Yeah, we're gonna
Can
see.
you imagine that?
Oh, dude, I'd be so hyped if it's just like, hey guys, I'm this dude from a realm that's hell, but it's not hell. Whatever, we'll just call it hell. And like, I just rule over it. Like I'm basically Satan in the Marvel universe. Like, I'm curious to see if they'll do that. Because I'll be honest, man. You know, yes, it's all backed by Disney, but I have a hard time believing Disney will sign off on throwing that kind of religious context into a TV show.
Do it. I think that there'll be a scene where they'll be like.
The question I have is this: how far are they going to go? How far?
I hope they go full tilt. I want to see like Coulson go. So there's a hell, and have Robbie Reyes be like, there is a devil, and he's got a car fetish. Like, we're in.
No, but if you've read the Robbie Reyes storyline, I just read through volumes 1 and 2 again just to get caught up in the whole thing, and his spirit is not a spirit of vengeance. It's a cold-blooded murderer who is a satanic, like, occultist guy who bonded himself with his own family. And, like, even in the comic, like, there's a handicapped brother that he just leaves in the ground to fend for himself for a couple of days, and he wants to torture and maim. Like, how far are we going to go with the whole Eli Morrow portion of it?
I think we're going to see a reimagining of this character. I mean, they are keeping the like wheelchair-bound brother. They are keeping the ethnicity. They're keeping the car thing. They're keeping the name and the family element. I think they're going to keep a lot of it, but I think you're losing something when you throw away the mythology of Ghost Rider, which is hilarious because Ghost Rider is nothing if not just a cool tattoo. But I want to see like them go. The spirit of Zarathos attaches to a human, and when it does, you become the rider. Like I want to see them play with mythology, but I have kind of a soft spot for Marvel mythology and pseudo, the supernaturalism. So like I kind of want to see that happen. I don't want them to be like I bound my soul to a douchey jerk who well, like that sucks.
See, this is like my concern. Like when they announced Robbie Reyes, he was my concern. My concern was he is going to be a Michael B. Jordan, Johnny Storm meets Wally West from the Flash TV show. Right. Like that's what I thought he was going to be, because like there's a really cool scene in Flash season 2 when Wally West is like when he's street racing. Whatever. But he's like, like whenever he's talking to his dad in the beginning of the season, he's like, get out of here. You were never there for me before, whatever. He's like an angsty teenager. But I could see like on a side Robbie Reyes that Wally being West like that.
Race car thing, that vanished like so quick.
Oh, dude, it was gone.
It's only because the CW has this weird fetish with having like young African American men street race because they did it to Pete Ross in Smallville.
They did. See, that was like his whole thing. There was like that weird arc midway through Smallville where it's like, Pete's totally racing now. Where you been, Clark?
But I don't know. I mean, it seems like it could go either way, and that's kind of my issue. Is because for me, if you're going to take a character like Ghost Rider, you can't do it halfway and then be like, well, I guess we can't use him anymore because people didn't like him. Like, he's not a character you could do halfway. It's like the Punisher. You can't have the Punisher kill only a couple people. You got to do like the Punisher did in Netflix, where the guy's like, it was just one man and he hung us on meat hooks. Like, you got to do that. You can't. So you got to have Ghost Rider. You got to have the Pittman stare where you have some guy just screaming in agony because of all the pain he caused. You have.
That's the thing. Robbie Reyes.
I thought Robbie Reyes
Ghost Rider.
No, but I thought they all had the Pittman stare.
No,
like every Ghost Rider had that
power. Revealed in Volume 3 that I haven't caught up to yet. But he's not a spirit of vengeance.
He's technically not like Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze.
Right,
I know he's not like Danny Ketch, but I thought that he had. I thought he had the Pittman stare.
No, from what I know, I mean, bear in mind, I've read the Volume 2. I know there's a Volume 3. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
Or the Pittman stare.
But because Johnny Blaze even showed up and he's like, "That's not what we have. You're a Ghost Rider, but you're not what we are. So we can help you to the best of our ability." But your spirit is this mass murdering, and at the end of Volume 2 they come to an arrangement because Eli's basically trying to take over Robbie Reyes' body, and they come to an arrangement that Robbie will murder, but only the worst people ever, and that's the arrangement.
Okay. No, he had it, but he didn't use it in the all-new Ghost Rider run, which is what you're talking about.
Okay.
Because I assume you're talking about like the Marvel Now stuff.
Yeah, the all-new one where it was that really weird art that definitely took some getting used to read that book.
He didn't have it then.
In the new Marvel Now too, like the new Ghost Rider, he has the ability that like it's all about a car. Like he sort of demonizes a car, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing that would turn me over to the side and actually watch this is that if you guys tell me that he demonizes Lola. The flying car.
That's what I'm saying. I want to
If
see
he
that.
ghost rides that, I will watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again.
Dude, I would be so. I want to see him. I want to see I want to see Coulson come out and just be like, "Where's Lola?" And then it just cuts to like Robbie Reyes just blazing down the road with a demonized Lola.
Flying car with a skeleton inside.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Now he's like, yeah, like that would be amazing.
Oh
like,
man, I would freak.
And like it leaves a trail of fire, like a fire tire, like lines. That'd be amazing.
According to the real Garin, the ghost of Eli Morrow that inhabits Robbie's body is not, according to Johnny Blaze, a true spirit of vengeance, and currently it is unknown if he possesses the biblical abilities of the other Ghost Riders, such as the Penance Stare.
Okay.
He did get
like
hit with it when Johnny Blaze hit him with it, and and that threw off Johnny Blaze because he was like trying to hit him with it, and he's like, "Whoa, what are you?"
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Either way, at the very least, it's an influx of fresh stuff. The Inhumans thing ran its course, and really, the Inhuman story was kind of a stretch. I mean, it was kind of like, I'm not really sure how I feel about this.
So hard to make you care about.
Dude, well, the problem is there were so many inconsistencies. You can't take a storyline where you say, well, the Terrigen mists were like vials of chemicals that ended up in the ocean and it contaminated the world, and not one reference is made during Civil War. You can't do that. Like, you can't have that kind of inconsistency. So
that's a whole
the other problem with that storyline because I love Quake in the comic books. I think she's an awesome character. She's really good. And I hated that when we got to the second series, because I was watching, like I said, I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the first 2 seasons full out. Yeah. And when they got to the second season, they were like, her name's Daisy. And I was like, no, she's not.
Well, not only that, what's his name kept calling her Shakes or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Tremors.
Yeah. I don't know. They've done such a. I feel like the whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing is they come up with great ideas, and then they try to ABC it, and that's where the problem comes in. Like, I feel like CW, when it comes to their shows, they kind of let the rain. They're still reeling them in, but they let them go a little bit closer to the comic books. While ABC is still like, no, we're gonna bring this back just a little, make it more grounded in reality.
Do you think that's because of the format? Because it could be that, because I've never seen a more comic booky show on mainstream television until we saw The Flash and stuff. But like before that, ABC was just like, we're just going to draw from the comics. I mean, legitimately, they did Deathlock within season 1. You're like, what a deep dive. But, with Netflix, they're doing the comics, but they have no holds barred. So they can do whatever they want. Whereas ABC, it's like, we have access to the comics, but it's ABC and it's on at like 8 p.m. So what are we gonna do? Like,
exactly.
How hard can we go with this? And also, there's the whole issue with Marvel TV versus Marvel Cinematic, which is like a nightmare and a hornet's nest all rolled into one. And it's like it's a whole episode of frustration and discussion that we could create, where it's like, why can't you just get your heads out of your asses? But like that's the reason why you're never going to see those two together. Like you're not going to see the Spirit of Vengeance referenced in the movies. You're not going to see like the Inhumans and the Terrigen mists and all that, and like the fish oil Terrigen referenced in Civil War, because like they're not there.
Well, like the thing that bothered me with the Inhumans was their refusal to even fully acknowledge the royal family. Like when you tell me Inhumans, I'm like Medusa, Black Bolt. Just go for it. Do Lockjaw. Make him a small dog. I don't care.
Dude, I would have been so down for that if just like if they had that little community or whatever it is, and like Lockjaw just teleports in, and Daisy's like, "What in the heck is that?" And he's like, "Don't worry about that. Like, we'll tell you about that later." And
it's like a dog, or he's like a man that looks like a dog. We're not sounding really clear about.
No, let's ignore that he's actually secretly a man. No, forget that, John.
Is that wait, real quick? Was that ever actually confirmed? Because I've seen all those theories that he's secretly a person.
John Byrne did a story where he confirmed it and said like it was a man that was like so he was one of the Inhumans who went through the Terran Mist, and when he came out, he was a giant dog that could teleport.
That tough moment, he's just like crying because he knows that he's a man, but he can't communicate it to anybody.
Yeah, it's been retconned since then, but it was canon for a while.
Yeah. That would be the funniest thing in the world. Like, I'm gonna get superpowers. I'm gonna be so cool. This guy can talk with his voice and knock down buildings. She's got crazy hair and woof.
Hey,
you're the royal car.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you guys who are new to comic books, man, comics have some crazy. Like, you guys remember Rainbow Batman? I don't know if any of you guys remember
Love
that.
Rainbow Batman.
Yeah, I've done a story on Rainbow Batman.
Yeah, I was like, dude, Rainbow, that's just outright insane. And that sounds like an episode of The Rundown. Rainbow Batman, like that gets so many views.
No,
but
the craziest Batman is when Grant Morrison decided that Batman's brain was a
Zero.
computer. Yeah, and there was like true Batman in there. So when Bruce Wayne was gone, true. How do you even? It's like Zurog.
Zuranar.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Zuranar.
a reference to like the 30s 40s where there was like a Batman of Zuranar where it's like a different planet where
Yeah.
It was
Exactly.
Planet X.
Planet X. Thank you.
Yep.
That for me is the peak of like mainstream weirdness. Like,
Oh God, dude! Like Grant
That
Morrison,
was
man.
most hardcore. Like I'm not a huge Grant Morrison Batman fan, but even I got to admit, Batman R.I.P. is pretty amazing. And when Batman Zuranar grabs a bat and he's got Batmite like yelling in his ear about what to do, I'm like, this is amazing. This is
Well,
the
see,
greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's the kicker. Like sometimes Grant Morrison writes stuff where it's like, "Hey guys, let's just retcon the entire history, like the origin of the Marvel or DC universe, with like
multiverse.
this great big huge blank. There's like this
Multiverse,
giant blank canvas, and this giant blank canvas is like the over monitor, and then it looks over to the left, and there's like some markings there, which is like the entire of the
universe.
DC universe. And so it's like, what's that? And it since like stuff like that is just like, okay, you're weird. But then you get like the return of Bruce Wayne. And it makes sense. And it's like Bruce Wayne just going forward in time after Final Crisis until he's back in the present. You've got Grant Morrison, new X-Men, let's kill 60 million mutants. Things like that make sense. It's like, Grant Morrison, I understand what you're doing here. This is a good story. It makes sense to me. But at other times, it's like, Grant, I'm having a hard time following you, man.
Yeah, there is definitely a Grant Morrison weirdness meter when you read some of his comics. Like you're 100% right, and it's like a scale of 1 to 10 when you're like, oh, you pick up like his legendary book Nameless, and you're like, okay, this is like an 11.5, and the scale only goes to 10.
That's like I got no more editors. Here it comes.
Yep.
It's the Grant Morrison. I always, because I love Grant Morrison stories, but at the same time, like I never know what I'm getting into whenever you see that name Grant Morrison. And if the book is, I'm not gonna lie, every time the book is like really weird, I'm like, wonder if he wrote it. Let me just check the writer real quick.
Yeah, people
But
were
all
like,
right,
man,
well,
I
I
read
mean,
this story that was weird. And
we've definitely run down the Robbie Reyes discussion as we are now
yeah,
on Grant
that's
Morrison. So let's move over to the big topic that I know everyone's here for because that's what I put in the promo video. Justice League versus the Suicide Squad. And I'm going to, very temporarily, for those of you guys who are just joining us, cut over to our splash page, which is our thumbnail, so you can get an idea of what we're looking at. So this promo image is Harley Quinn with Wonder Woman's tiara, a Green Lantern ring, and Batman with what appears to be Deadshot's eye. And is that the lasso?
It looks like
Yeah,
Lasso
Katana's
Blade.
sword.
And it looks like Katana's blade.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that's our promo
yeah.
image we're looking at.
Dude, Batman with Deathstroke's eye looks amazing. I'm just gonna throw it out there. That is awesome.
It's Deadshot's eye. Deadshot's eye. Get it right.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, not Deathstroke. Deathshot's eye.
It looks like I can see Deadshot in the background there, missing the eyepiece.
So who wants to take point on this discussion?
Oh, is that him? I'll be honest, man. Like, maybe I'm just not as current on DC as I need to be, but this seems like it's coming out of left field. Like, as far as I know, has there ever been any indication that they're building up to a Justice League versus
think,
Suicide
honestly,
Squad event?
like the last 10 years. Like
Really?
Suicide Squad for
Yeah.
the longest time has been like, Justice League will show up and they're like, there's the Justice League, we gotta go. And the Justice League normally Batman's like, I'm gonna stop you. And like, that's
Oh yeah, I know.
whatever happens.
I know. There's been like this tension. Like I know it's been like the Justice League does not approve of Amanda Waller's actions. Like I know there's this tension there, but I'm talking about in terms of an actual story. Like events have been taking place that are going to lead into
Yeah, no,
this.
like,
a lead-up.
everything that Suicide Squad is pretty much done, at least since the New 52. Justice League has been watching and just never had time to do anything about.
Okay.
That's basically what has come up.
We kind of got like a real indication of that in one of the more recent Batman issues, where Batman just goes to Amanda Waller's bunker and he's like, "I'm going to shut down your operations," and she's like, "Yeah, we'll see about that."
Wasn't that one of the tie-in issues, like Suicide Squad Special Edition or Harley Quinn April
I
Fools?
thought that was just a regular Batman book. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was like Batman.
It's like the Batman issue. It's in a Batman issue, where he shows up and he's like, he's getting our help and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like I do think that this has kind of been building to the New 52 because of all the like sort of changeovers with the Suicide Squad and stuff like that. I also think that there's gonna be something in the future that could set off why the Justice League is like, all right, this is it, or why. Because if you've seen the solicitations in November, you see that there's this Batman storyline called I Am Suicide, and he's sort of going to team up with some members of the Suicide Squad to take on Bane, which Batman versus Bane I'm excited about.
Yeah, anytime it would
not.
Yeah, Snyder's been teasing the Batman-Bane confrontation for a while. Anytime anybody tweets at Snyder, they're like, "Hey, you going to do a Bane book?" He goes, "Somebody else is working on that. It's going to be amazing."
Yeah. So talk to each other. I have a feeling it's going to be something in that book that's going to like make the event. That's going to make the Justice League be like, "This is over."
Yeah.
Well, you see, another thing too is like I read Suicide Squad Rebirth. When they brought back like the old Amanda Waller, and maybe it was just me because going through and looking at the 96 appearances of Amanda Waller in the New 52, like it was night and day. It was like Amanda Waller, like, yeah, I'm tough, but I'm not like old school Amanda Waller, like, see this, I love giving people this example because it's my favorite example to use for Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is like an Italian mob boss. All right. It's like back in the old days, we did things a certain way. And that's Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is like the mob boss from like the 1950s, like the old school Amanda Waller. The New 52 Amanda Waller is like a modern one. Like, well, I'm not as hardcore as the old ones. We got to do things a new way or whatever. And I'm so happy to see the old Amanda Waller back. But just by reading Suicide Squad Rebirth,
I liked the Slim Wetworks one that would get in and get dirty with everyone else.
She wasn't bad, but
Team 7.
Yeah,
Amanda
the Team
Waller.
7 version. Yeah, well, good. That's
dude,
the best like definition of her ever.
But see, to me, like the Team 7 Amanda Waller, it took away from it. Because instead of her just being some manipulative woman that worked her way up the ranks, she's just like, well, I had a team and they all got transformed into these weird monster things and I had to shoot, one of the guys at the end of the story. And so we need to have a team that we can just like dispose of, and so that way I don't have to. And so like, it wasn't like she was just a manipulative person. It was like, she just doesn't want to get her feelings hurt anymore. And so I was like, that's not Amanda Waller. Like I want the manipulative, the one that secretly is pulling all the strings. Like she's like the J. Edgar Hoover of the DC universe. Like that's the Amanda Waller that I want. And I feel like that's the Amanda Waller that we got. But maybe I didn't pick up that much with the New 52, but they seem distinctly different. The one that they gave us in DC.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah. The New 52 one was definitely more. She was a lot softer. She was more in like I liked where everyone's just getting weird because I just accidentally opened up ComicPOP and your thing was like like really loud. Anyway, I totally threw myself off with that. Like,
attention grabbing. That's the idea.
But no, you are right. The new Amanda Waller. The new Amanda Waller is she's. I don't know. She wasn't as mean and nasty, while the larger one, and maybe she got mean and nasty because she put on a few pounds, got a little depressed, got angry. I don't know.
Kept eating ice cream to work out her problems. I don't know. But no, like that. The reason why I brought that up is, again, because I'm not as knowledgeable about Suicide Squad and the whole like their encounters with the Justice League and New 52. It would seem to me that with the new Amanda Waller that we're getting, we'd probably see a storyline somewhere along the line where she's like, well, if the Justice League wants to do something, they can come do something, and we'll see what happens.
Right, they can just give me a call and we'll see.
Yeah, like she would welcome a conflict with the Justice League, whereas the New 52 Amanda Waller would try to find some way to work around that or try to avoid that conflict. And so to me that would really kind of solidify the return of the Amanda Waller that we all know and love. If the Justice League is like, look, you can't be doing this kind of stuff with the Suicide Squad, she's like, well, the only way it's going to stop is if you show up here and you stop us.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I always liked the dichotomy of Amanda Waller and the Justice League as it was portrayed in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon.
Yes.
While we never saw that come to a head where she was like, "You come at me, I'm going to throw my team at you," which would have been really cool. And we did get a Task Force X episode, but it didn't carry over. We did get her going like, "All right, I'm gonna burn it all down." She's launching nukes and making like really tough calls, but also grows as a person. It's interesting. I'm looking forward to the event. Number one, because it looks awesome, and number two, because I'm more interested in what the fallout will be, what the DC Rebirth universe will look like after these two teams, which are more or less part of the pillars of the DC universe right now. You got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn, who's the fourth pillar of DC, according to Dan DiDio, and it's like they're definitely all going to come to a head and reform the universe in some way. I don't mean like in a crisis kind of way. I just mean like in
can I say this though? I really like the fact that our first major Rebirth event is not something like Darkseid's crushing everything crazy.
Yeah,
it's just like teams fighting. Like that's all we got.
I mean, I'll be honest. That was one of the things that kind of got me about Justice League. Like the Darkseid run was cool, and in hindsight, it's obvious now that Jeff Johns was building up to Darkseid War in the first place. But I kind of felt like the appearance of Darkseid was too soon.
It was too soon.
Like bam, Darkseid, New 52, let's do this, man. And it was like 0 to 60, whereas
you can't start. You can't start their first adventure with the hardest person to defeat.
Where do you go from that?
You
go
can't start
to some.
11.
You go to some writer who learned how to talk to ghosts.
Yeah,
that was the next. That was the second.
I remember that storyline.
Yeah. It was a writer whose career got crapped on by the Justice League somehow.
Yep.
It wasn't bad. For the record, it wasn't a bad story. But for that to be the follow-up to Darkseid was a bit weird. Like, we just saved the universe. Let's go stop this ghost guy.
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the other funny thing to me, too. It's because, just looking at this promo image, like, Superman's down, Wonder Woman's down, which, by the way, it's really cool to see her outfit again. Like, Deadshot's down in the background. Like, you got, like, everybody's down. Suicide Squad and Justice League. But you got Batman and you got Harley Quinn standing together.
It's a little evocative of
what happened.
It looks to me like it looks to me like we may end up with the Trinity War situation, where everyone came to head to fight for something, and then boom, we had a bigger villain out there that they had to team up against.
Well, that's a good formula. Everybody liked Trinity War.
I love Trinity War. It's on my wall right here. Look.
Yeah, there are some cool images
wall.
from Trinity War.
There are some cool pictures. There's some great wallpapers from Trinity.
See? I have it framed it on my wall.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes,
that is dedication.
I have all 6 parts of this starter where they had the 3-issue spread all right there.
So it's all the cover?
Yeah.
All right.
I like how even Jason's like, wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, all right.
All right, well.
Hey, I love the setup to that event because they introduced that image way ahead of time in I can't remember what comic, and then it took us a year to get there, and then when we finally got there, it was like the story didn't match what the image originally showed us, so that's why I was kind of like, well, I don't know.
My only major complaint about it was I liked how they built up towards Pandora and all that Pandora's box stuff. What I didn't like is that then that story went to another book that wasn't promoted anywhere, and you were now you're on Forever Evil. That's what we're doing.
I think that was like, well, put it over here so no one complains that we didn't just abandon it.
Yeah.
If you want to read about that, it's over here, but somebody just pitched me a way better concept.
See, that was always my question about going from Trinity War to Forever Evil, because, I mean, it didn't really seem like it led into it. It was just like, suddenly, like, the crime syndicate's attacking Earth. Like, what's going on? Like,
a cooler idea.
And it's like, what? Like, how do we get from A to B? He's like, don't worry about that. Just, we're at B now.
Don't
Forever Evil.
Don't look for those connections. There's going to be a book that comes out like 3 months down the road. That'll explain that.
Okay. I want to make sure, because that's always something that bothered me. I want to make sure that I didn't miss something.
Oh, no,
because it seemed like we just suddenly went from Trinity War to Forever Evil. Okay.
Reading that as it came out was the most confusing thing in the world.
Oh yeah, like that's one that I read in trade. But I will say this: like,
opens up to Earth 3. How does that even work?
The image of Alfred standing there with Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Is that what we talked? Yeah, at the end. Yeah. Now I will say that, like, I love Forever Evil. Like, I love seeing Lex Luthor finally being like kind of a good guy, but kind of not. Like, Lex Luthor saved the world. Like, I loved seeing that whole.
I do love how even now in Rebirth we've stuck to Lex Luthor's like, no, I saved the world once, and I really liked that feeling.
His Superman costume is amazing. His Superman armor is freaking sweet. Oh my god.
I can't wait to see this fall.
Oh, I know. Well, that's what's going to be so epic when he finally falls. We all know it's going to happen.
It's not even a fall. He's not a good guy. I can't wait for him to roll back the curtain and just be like, "You fools!"
We all know it will happen. Even if this goes on for the next 5 years of him being a superhero.
All the sweeter. It's going to be all the sweeter. Exactly. It'll be like the Zorn reveal times 1,000. It's just going to be amazing.
Oh, God.
The cool thing about it will be that you guys remember when Lex Luthor was president?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and so there's like a good 4 or 5 years where like Lex Luthor is president of the United States
and doing things behind the scenes.
Yeah. I hope they do the same thing, because I like these little periods of comic books where you're just like, well, Superman was electric. You know?
Yeah.
You're the
Those
only
weird
person I
moments.
know that constantly references Electric Superman other than me. 'Cause you bring that up all the time when
I
someone's
love
like,
that.
Man, Superman.
well, every time someone's like, I don't like this change. How could they dare do this? I'm like, Superman was blue and electric. What?
Yeah.
That lasted a year. Don't even talk
Yeah.
to me
More than
about
a
you
year.
being
Grant
upset
Morrison,
that
like-
Batman's gone for a year.
Yep.
This is it's evocative of the kind of the mandate for DC Rebirth, where it's like bring back legacy, bring back the numbers, bring back like things that like longevity. Like I miss that aspect of like that we had from modern comics, which was runs where things happened and it's still part of one continuity. Like I love the idea that there is going to be a point in the future where Lex Luthor will either have like a business suit or a big green monster armor, and he'll be trying to defeat Superman. And
Yes.
but you'll be like, hey, remember that time when he wore a blue power suit and he was trying to be Superman for like 3 years? That was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
remember the Superior Superman era? Like that's going to be really fun, and it's going to be evocative of the time when it's like, remember when Lex was president? Remember when Lex was a businessman? Remember before that when he was a mad scientist? Like, remember all these different eras? Like, they all are part of one ongoing continuity, but they all have their own cemented moment in time. Remember when Superman had a mullet? Like, remember when
Yeah.
Supergirl
Who doesn't?
was a morphing alien?
Oh God, Matrix. Well,
Yeah.
dude, that is, and I love that you use the term superior Superman, because what a great way to describe Lex Luthor right
Yeah.
now. Like, but to me, like, dude, that is so true, because as much as I love like this whole thing with like Luthor, like at the end of the day, he's the Superman villain. Like
Yes.
he's the
Yeah.
Superman bad guy. Like it's like you think of Superman and you think of Lex Luthor. You don't think of Brainiac. You don't think of Darkseid. You think of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
And to me, like, of course it'll go back to that at some point in time. But I'm with Sal 100% on this. Whether this turns out to be the equivalent of Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man's body, or whether it turns out to be the equivalent of Superman with electric powers, we will look back on this and be like, hey, it didn't last that long, or maybe it lasted a while, and some folks thought it was dumb. I thought it was amazing.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's so
Can't
cool that like I kind of wish that they had in DC Rebirth they had just launched a title called Luthor Man of Steel.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would
And
be
like-
Oh, dude, what a good name.
Yeah.
Yes, I would read that. I would
Yeah.
so get that. God, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so what else do we have on topics?
No, this is going good. This is totally on
ABC.
topic right now.
ABC New Warriors. Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Piece of news. Yes, dude, and it's got Squirrel Girl. Okay,
And
I'm
on
excited
that
about
note,
this.
I'm done for the day.
It's got Squirrel Girl. Dude,
That's
okay,
a no-brainer.
dude, I hope Squirrel Girl doesn't like. I hope Squirrel Girl's gonna be like, the Deadpool of the team. Where the team is like, hey, we're the New Warriors. Like, I really hope it's the reality show team. That's what I
hope too.
I hope it's the reality show team.
I hope
But
it is a reality show.
that'd be
That
so
would be
cool. That
Like
would be
it's
awesome.
shot like the
Casting
real
begins
world.
next
Like
month
Big
in New
Brother.
Yeah, like Big Brother, but it's like a superhero reality show, and that's how they could bridge the gap, where it's like you could launch you have to call it something else. It couldn't be Civil War, but you could build that for like where at the end of every season, are we canceled? No? Okay, then they didn't kill everybody yet. Like then they just saved that big moment where they blow up Nitro or whatever.
Well,
and just save-
where they do
God,
that
yeah.
with they do that with every season of Robot Chicken. If you make it into a reality show, you can make that like breaking the fourth wall. And Robot Chicken at the end of every season is like, we're canceled, and then when it comes
we're
back,
probably
they're like,
canceled,
we're
moving
back.
Yeah, but like,
Um,
but New Warriors could be like a really cool kind of like meta show about superheroes in the Marvel universe that features new like young hip, if you use the parlance, superheroes that maybe they don't have powers, but maybe they're just like they have power augmentation, or some of them are Atlantean or something like that. Inhumans, whatever you do.
Namorita. Yeah, give it.
Namorita, I was thinking, yeah.
I would not
It'd also
want
be a
Namorita
great
on
way
that
to
show.
distinguish the show from other superhero shows. Like if you made it a reality show.
Yeah,
Right, because
Well,
remember a month ago when they were trying to do that, and I don't mean like literally a month ago, but like very shortly ago, when they were trying to do Marvel's Most Wanted, where it was like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 2 show.
Mm-hmm.
Not watching a second Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, but I will watch a totally different version of a superhero show, especially since, what's it called? What's the DC show? Powerless?
Powerless.
That looks like it almost is never going to come out because like developers keep leaving it. You could do something similar where, I mean, like not that specifically, but like look at what they're doing, and they're doing different things. They're not just like going, okay, we do Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, but like I don't know, Blue Beetle, like it's just no, we do something different. Like do a different thing. but still set it in the same universe and pretend that.
Okay. Am I the only one bothered by the idea of putting Squirrel Girl as a main person in the New Warriors, though?
Confound these wretched rodents! For every one I throw off, a dozen more vex me! This is the show to introduce Dr. Doom, if Marvel has the rights back to the Fantastic Four. Yes. This is
I mean, again, man, she's hot right now. It's like she's hot. She's like popular. Like the New Warriors is the perfect like kind of thing to introduce Squirrel Girl into the Marvel universe, because I think if you were to do a Squirrel Girl TV show on her own, it wouldn't work. But if you put her in,
it would be like a Disney show. That's what Squirrel Girl's TV show would be.
But they're doing that now. You're going to see a Cloak and Dagger show on that ABC Family channel, which is like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But
yeah.
By the way, somebody in the chat asked the difference between Nitro and Neutron. I'm assuming you were talking about DC's Neutron. That's just a guy that has nuclear energy and he can use it for a variety of effects. Nitro is a guy that just lets off energy. The reason why he matters is because he explodes. And he was taking mutant growth hormone, which is why he blew up Stanford, Connecticut, and started the whole.
He does not have that level of power.
Yeah, not anymore. So they reduced that.
Yeah.
But
you know why it was Stanford, Connecticut?
No,
because that's where the WWE is located. I don't know.
No, because it was because that's Jeff Loeb's hometown.
Oh my God!
He was like, "Screw you guys!"
They blew up Jeff Loeb's hometown.
Yep.
You know what, Jeff Loeb? I've had enough of your lip, man. We're gonna blow up your town. But no, you know, I agree. Like that reality show would be so cool. And then like you've got the premise set up. Like I mean, they could just be like, so like what's the whole? And you never show anybody else. It's like one of those found footage videos where it's just like you're just running around following these guys, and it's like, so why did you become superheroes? It's like, well, we saw that like the Avengers don't exist anymore. They broke up, and there's all this bad publicity. We want to show people what heroes are really like and the stuff that we do in day in and day out. But like. They just end up screwing up most of the time, which I think would add a great comedic element to it. Mm-hmm. But like, I could imagine this being a cops / basically like cops with superheroes. Like it'd be awesome. Like I'd watch the heck out of that.
Yeah, that's a show.
I would love that. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I just hope that with Squirrel Girl, it'll add some comedy or it won't make it too funny. Yeah.
I'm just tired of Squirrel Girl. Like she's in everything at this point. She's crossed over in everything. And they can't even keep their designs on
Deadpool's
the same
in everything.
page. Huh?
Squirrel Girl is in like maybe 2 things, and people have a real problem with Squirrel Girl for some reason, and so they're like, she's everywhere. It's like, no, she's a silly character, and she's in 2 things, and one of them hasn't even come out yet. Like,
Deadpool. In the defense of the Deadpool and everything argument, though, he just took the place of Wolverine. I mean, that's.
But like, I would say that Wolverine was in everything too. There's 2 Wolverines, and they still
Wolverine's dead. Someone has to pick up the baton.
Yeah,
I mean,
someone else has to run around to every team.
Okay, count off the amount of Deadpool titles that have come out within the last year, and tell me that Deadpool's not in everything. Literal titles that have come out with Deadpool's name.
700,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. Are we counting digital releases or not?
2 million.
Money is paid. Artists are drawing them. Those are comic books.
Yeah.
Uncanny Avengers doesn't say Deadpool in the title. He's just on every cover.
Dude, it's Deadpool and the Uncanny Avengers, man, is what it is. It's the Deadpool Unity Squad is what it is.
It is.
The reader. Can you imagine the type of reader that like Marvel thinks is buying all these books? Where it's one dude, it's like, oh, I didn't even know Deadpool was in this one. Purchase. Like, there's nobody that's like that.
Hey, don't make fun of me.
No, dude. Okay, see, with Deadpool, it works though, man, because there are people that have never read a Deadpool comic in their life, and they love the Deadpool character, like because they love the concept of a goofy guy in comics. So
there were people who loved Deadpool without reading a single comic before the movie came out. They were just like, I love Deadpool with a great cosplaying. I'm like, you don't know anything about that character.
There's people cosplaying him who didn't know what he was.
Yeah, but
cosplay, and there is nothing more fun than watching about 24 Deadpools like doing a conga line through a Comic-Con.
Yeah. Well, but see, like, I mean, that's not unheard of though. Like, I could walk up to a 60-year-old man on the street and say, "Hey, do you know who Superman is?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know who Superman is." It's like, what's Superman's like? What happened to him recently in comics? He's not going to be able to tell you, but he knows who Superman is. You know, and it's the same thing with Deadpool. People know who Deadpool is. They may have never read a comic, but they know who he is. And I think that speaks volumes about the popularity of Deadpool. But in truth, the fact that people know so much about him is because of comic fans. Because comic fans go to conventions and they talk about Deadpool. Because people make videos and they talk about Deadpool. Because pop culture just loves the concept of Deadpool because he's a crazy, wacky guy, and you have no idea what's going to happen in his. Like, the goal of a Deadpool story is to make it as ridiculous as possible, even for the realm of comic books. Hence the reason why he literally had a segment in one of his comics where he was talking about the life of Peanuts. He was talking about Peanuts. He was like, these peanuts are in a shell and they love each other, but they can never, be with each other because the shell separates them. But then somebody opens the shell and the peanuts can be together. Like, what? But that's a Deadpool comic.
You sound very defensive about Deadpool, Rob. I thought I was a Deadpool fan on the Weekly Poll.
I used to hate Deadpool.
Turn the camera around. He's got all this Deadpool stuff.
It's like a shrine.
I used to not like Deadpool.
Stock of Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like
he's invested. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm invested in Deadpool stock.
So anyway, that show's coming out.
Yeah.
No, but here's the question: is it really coming out? Like.
Yeah, the thing is, it could not.
Cloak and Dagger.
I was like, is it Cloak and Dagger? Is it Teen Titans on TNT?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, low blow. Low blow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it may never come out. I mean, but I'll be honest though. There's a huge difference to me between watching a New Warriors TV show just because of the reality show premise from the comics versus Cloak and Dagger. I cannot envision a circumstance where I would sit down and watch Cloak and Dagger. I can't. No. I can't.
See Deadpool was on it.
Yeah.
I would watch the episode of the Deadpool show. Let me tell you something, man. If they have so little faith in their show that they need to add Deadpool in order to carry it, well then I'll watch it because of Deadpool.
If you want to talk about having little faith in Cloak and Dagger, their return to comics was them showing up as bad guys so that Spider-Man can fight and save them. That was their return to comics recently.
Well, that's not when they first showed up.
I think that was even a directive. I think Dan Slott was like, who I haven't seen in a while? Cloak and Dagger. What are they doing? Nothing. I'm going to put them back. Like,
no, I mean, dude, it's
just like the Prowler. He's like, who's used Prowler in the last 25 years? Nobody. Cool. I'm using Prowler.
Go Hobie Brown.
No, dude, it's 100% true because like if you ask anybody, what's the most significant thing that Cloak has done? That like Dagger has done, like either of them have done in comics recently, they'll say it was when like Ragnarok Thor showed up and Dagger was like, oh my god, this is so wrong, and then like Cloak teleported them all into Manhattan during Civil War.
Yeah, the plot devices.
And that's it. Like those are the only important things they've done in the last like 10 years of comics.
Cloak was the lockjaw of the Underground Avengers during Dark Reign.
Yeah,
He wasn't even a member of the New Avengers. He just transported them places and then would give Luke Cage bones when they did that. It's literally
isn't that what Cloak does in general though? Like every event I've ever seen him in, he's just a giant car.
No, that's all he does is just teleport.
Because nobody knows who they are or knows how to use them in any way.
He's Lockjaw with the better cape.
Yeah. He's Lockjaw but cooler looking.
He's Lockjaw and he can talk. That's what it is.
Oh, he tried to encase this tells you how they were stretching. Jim Starlin during Infinity Gauntlet had Cloak encase Thanos when he had the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah, in the Dark Dimension. And Thanos was just like, nope, and obliterated Cloak in his entirety.
Yeah.
So that Squirrel Girl series, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so on topic this episode, guys. We're doing good.
Hey, at least I'm rolling the topics forward. Sometimes we just stay on that tangent forever.
That's true.
All right, so Stargirl. Before we go into this, and Jason, you're not allowed to answer this because I know you know who she is. Does Sal or Rob even know who Stargirl is?
I'm aware of Stargirl. I never read any comics in which she was featured. She was a Justice Society of America character, as I remember.
She's the daughter of one of them, and that's the whole thing.
But she was and she teams up like with her dad, and she's got like cool powers.
I know Jason knows who she is.
I love her costume, and she's been featured in like I think 2 episodes of Justice League Unlimited. That is the limitation of my knowledge of Stargirl. I think she looks cool. I wish I knew more about her, but I never care enough to look it up.
So, Jason, would you like to explain who Stargirl is to all of our viewers, including
She is Courtney Whitmore. She is an ultimate legacy character in the DC universe. She originally showed up as the Star-Spangled Kid, created by Jeff Johns, where she found the Star-Spangled Belt that gave her powers. Eventually, she became the successor to Starman Jack Knight, because he gave her his Star Staff, and that's how she became Stargirl. But she is Benny nailed it. Like, she is the youthful legacy of the Justice Society of America.
Yeah, she carries it onward. I'm trying to think, what was the last thing she was in before this? I vaguely remember
Justice League United.
But comic.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't there something in the comics recently where she got the staff again and they were trying to like reinvent her?
Oh, I don't know. The last thing she showed up was like a Justice League United, Justice League Canada. Like, she was like a team leader with Martian Manhunter in that. And that series is okay.
That wasn't that bad. I actually liked that series. It had some. It went to some weird places, though. I will say,
did.
When it went to like World War II, and they were like Swamp Things helping them fight World War II, and you're like, why are we here?
Yeah. It kind of became like DC's kooky series. But like the coolest thing about like the Stargirl showing up in Legends of Tomorrow is that for me, whether you like the stories or hated the stories, Legends of Tomorrow last season I thought was the most comic book TV show I have ever seen.
I dropped off midway through. I couldn't finish it. Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
Jason, man, like I tried to watch it.
Look, Mr. Defender of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is amazing.
Listen, I am the first to admit that the storylines are pretty silly and the logic to the plots are pretty goofy. I will admit that, and I will give up that battle anytime. But the comic book Easter eggs that they pull out and the storylines they pull are like, more comic booky than anything that Flash or Arrow has ever thought about doing. And the fact that the entire season is a build to Justice Society of America is fantastic.
Oh, see, I haven't watched it enough to know. So it's a build to Justice. Now, see, I would watch a Justice Society TV show.
Yeah, I would watch that too.
That's what season 2 is going to be.
That show is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what season 2 is going to be all about. It's going to be Justice Society of America.
I didn't really give it a fair shot. I got to the point where the big reveal from Rip Hunter was that they're not really the Legends. They just don't matter in the future. Yeah. That's where I got to the point. I'm like, all right, well, that's like episode 4 or 5. We have a lot to go.
So here's my question: if they're going to launch a Justice Society TV show, does that mean they're going to bring back Jay Garrick from Flash season 2?
I don't know about that. I have a feeling that they're gonna like disconnect that. Like, I have a feeling that they'll introduce like another speedster or won't even have a speedster at all. I have a feeling that there's like they can't touch speedsters because that's the Flash's deal. And every speedster in the DC universe has to show up on that TV show and within the first 3 seasons.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna mention this one. Whose idea was it to have the first 2 seasons have a betrayal plot? Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Now you say that. But those were some amazing episodes.
No, they were. But I feel like I'm really curious where the Flash is gonna go, because I feel like they came out with amazing seasons, but it's almost like the Flash just like blew its load way too early, and it's like, where are we gonna go now?
We went
to Black Flash, Jay Garrick, Jesse Quick, double people betraying us. Now we're doing Flashpoint, as a super Flash fan, I'm sitting here like, you are running out of awesome stories, like, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I thought like a lot of Legends of Tomorrow season 1 was going to set up this whole storyline for Flash season 3, because the way they were focusing a lot on Captain Cold and Heatwave, I thought it was going to be like, oh, okay, so at the end of this season, Heatwave and Captain Cold are going to leave the ship, and they're going to go back to Central City, and they're going to be like, oh, these other rogues are here? Oh, we got to start a rogue war.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be season 3, but then if you spoilers for, something happens to Captain Cold in Legends of Tomorrow, and now that's not possible.
Oh, every social media feed ever spoiled that.
Okay, well,
all right, spoilers, Captain Cold's dead. So there you go.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. I was totally unaware. I appreciate it, man.
Sorry. Apologies.
My God.
But no, because like I heard, I don't know about accurate this is.
Actually, he's not dead because of time travel. He's actually going to show up in the next season.
Yeah. Well, I've heard through the rumor mill, and like, because that's always accurate. But like, season 3 of Flash is supposedly like, it's got Flashpoint, the Guerrilla War, and the Rogue War all wrapped into it, and I'm just like, what's left? Like, are we gonna go with the obscure stuff where you're racing, you're going to Mercury to race the gods? Like, you're running out of valuable shit here, man.
You ready for this, Benny? I know what's left.
What?
Wallace West.
Wallace
West. How much everybody loves Cobalt Blue.
Yeah. No, we got to bring out Cobalt. I may jump off the show if we end season 3 with, here's Cobalt Blue, your brother, Barry Allen.
Well, all right, so here's the kicker to me,
they'll
man.
exactly do that. That sounds like you just looked into the future.
See, here's the kicker is I mean, that's a good point, man. Where do you go? I mean, you can't do Flash Rebirth because they covered Flash Rebirth in season 1. Like,
basically, yeah,
that was Eobard Thawne going back. Like, that's the whole thing. See, it'd be different if Eobard Thawne just showed up and was like, "I'm just obsessed with you and I'm gonna fight you." And then, like in season 3, they're like, or season 4, they're like Flash Rebirth. Like, it was actually Eobard Thawne who screwed up Barry Allen's life. Like, that'd be a great thing to do. But that is a good question. Like, where do you go now? I think the answer to that is bringing in other people, because we've already seen teasers for Hal Jordan. Like, we already know about Carol Air Force.
My theory is that it just costs too much money to do Green Lantern right. That's the problem. I mean, like, it would be one of those deals where they'd be like, here's Hal Jordan. Let me put my ring down and deal with this. I don't need the ring. Like, I think that would be the excuse they'd have to go with half the time, like, to make it viable on a budget.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the most frustrating part about superhero shows in general. It's why we were talking about Ghost Rider for half an hour. We're like, they're never gonna do that.
Right.
Like, they don't have the money for it.
They don't got the money.
Well, see, you can work, and I think that would be the best thing with Green Lantern if all those Easter eggs and hints led to him, is he couldn't get a show. He'd have to be a cameo character that they dumped half the season's budget into.
He'd be a King Shark. He's in 3 episodes per season. Like,
it's exactly right, because I remember when King Shark first appeared on The Flash, I talked to one of the CW producers and was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you guys put King Shark in there." And he was like, "We only put him at the end season." And at that time, they hadn't announced the King Shark episode, and he was like, and he told me, he was like, "That's the only time you're going to see King Shark, because he blew our entire episode's budget for that 3-minute scene."
Wow. Yeah, I imagine the money that goes into the CGI to pull that off. I mean, that is a really good point.
Every time that King Shark comes up on our channel, like, we go, he looked better than he has any right to look. He looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's there for like a few seconds. And every time I mention that, people are like, "Yeah, well, he was in 3 episodes." And I'm like, yeah, he wasn't a main character in all 3 episodes.
Yeah, he's not there for 45 minutes.
Exactly. They didn't show.
I feel like when they finally, because they're gonna do it eventually, especially now if they can merge the universes and all that other stuff. They laid too much groundwork for there not to eventually be a cameo by the Green Lantern. But I feel like it's eventually just gonna be like, we'll see a lot of him flying into a room and then depowering. All right, guys, I'm here in my normal civvies.
Hey guys, like, here is the
what they
budget
might
for him
do.
in the last 5 episodes.
What they might do is kind of like what they do with The Flash, because they built like a virtual model of Grant Gustin, and so every time he runs, you're watching that 3D model of Grant Gustin. They might just build like a fully CGI, like fully emerald guy, like he's just solid green, so that every time he becomes the Green Lantern, he's just solid green, and they can use that model over and over and over again.
That's a good point.
As long as they don't put him on a green screen.
If they want somebody to like make it, I mean, I can make Green Lantern in After Effects. It'll look terrible, but I'll do it for free. So, I mean, I can try to make him. It'll look bad, and people will be like, "What is this crap?" But at least it'll be free, I guess.
I have a feeling we'll see Alan Scott before we see Hal Jordan.
No, that I would not complain
about.
Well,
they're kind of building up. Yeah, with the Justice Society, we're building up in that direction. And in all honesty, you could get away with Alan Scott a lot more than you could with like Hal Jordan, because Alan Scott doesn't actually do that much, like Green Lantern wise.
Right, he's just a dude. You put him on. You could either green screen him or you could wire him. Like, either way, it's just a man in a cape, and he's just like, "Hello, my ring's magic." Like, that's you don't worry about that.
It depends on what they want to do too, because it wasn't until he was rolled over into the whole Green Lantern mythos that he was actually given the powers of a lantern. Up until that point, he would just move stuff around, and he could like make plants grow, which is cool, whatever. But his powers were extremely limited in comparison.
Wasn't originally he was like in touch with the Green, and then the Earth 2, which is now Earth 2.
That's what
remade it into that.
Yeah. Originally he was just everything the color green. Like, his weakness was wood. Like, I mean, he's a character from the 1940s.
Right.
So I mean,
the Silver Age Green Lantern wasn't much better with a weakness to yellow.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now,
and they all have a weakness to wood. What's that about?
Well, see, okay. So check this out. So when I was a kid, and I remember my dad teaching me about comics and stuff, he told me about the Green Lantern. And he said his weakness was the color yellow, and I'll remember this until the day I die. I was like, so if I had like a yellow crayon and I threw it at him, would it like take away his powers? And he was like, "No, son, that's not how it works." My dad started to get irritated. He's like, "No, that's not how it works, son. You can't throw a yellow crayon at the Green Lantern and take away his powers, son." But no, it was.
But Batman can paint a whole room in yellow and take away his powers.
Take away his powers, yeah, I don't know. But no,
I think, by the way, that sequence was just Green Lantern not letting him have it. Where it's like, we're talking about All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder, written by Frank Miller with art by Jim Lee, in which Batman paints one of his safe houses yellow so that he can talk to Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, one-on-one. It is obscene how amazingly silly and hilarious that scene is.
And he paints himself all yellow, too.
Yes, he paints himself.
Wasn't he and Robin yellow for that? I think Robin was
Robin
too,
and he are both painted yellow. The only thing, I like to think that like Hal could have easily defeated Batman with the ring. It's just that he was like, he's looking around the room. He's looking at this yellow Batman. He's got a 12-year-old boy who's obviously Dick Grayson, age 12. And he's like, I'm not going to mess with this guy. And then the child comes out of nowhere and breaks his trachea. Like, yeah, I don't think it was working. I think it was just that he's like, this guy is unbalanced.
Yeah, no, I do agree with the idea of Alan Scott, just because it'd be much easier to get away without having, you know, some extremely extravagant special. Because let's be honest, man, if they're like Hal Jordan, we want to see hammers, we want to see giant objects, we want to see like the full effect of this ring. We don't want to see,
Hal Jordan, you've just opened the door up to Space Cop. So the budget's got to go up, and you got to make like basically CW's version of Star Trek. Like you got to go out there.
I think,
and I know how much you love Star Trek, Jason. So wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, I want that show. It's like Legion of Superheroes, man. I want the Legion of Superheroes TV show so bad because it's Star Trek mixed with superheroes, but I know they can't afford it. It's kind of like Green Lantern. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I think we will see Alan Scott, and I think if we do see a Green Lantern on a TV show, the most we're gonna see is he blasts green lasers, and maybe he puts a green bubble around him as a shield. Because even if you go back to Justice League, the Justice League animated series, if you remember John Stewart, he didn't do too much. It was a bubble, a hammer, or a piece of wood,
or green laser blast. That was one of the things that blew my mind. It was because number one, best portrayal of John Stewart Green Lantern, and 100%. I think best like other media version of Green Lantern, like outside of comics, best one. But he's so unimaginative.
Yep.
All he does is create walls, and he's like blasting green lasers. I'm like, dude, create a catapult, make a giant slingshot, do something.
And then the animation Skrilla, man.
Remember the episode when they became children? And he's like, I'll make a giant laser. I'll make a big slingshot. I'm like, yes! But you should be thinking that all the time, John. What are you doing?
Well, see, that's why people loved Kyle Rayner so much in the 90s, because like he did that stuff.
He was an artist. He was literally the avatar for the artist to be like, that's me, and I'm going to draw this!
It's still my favorite Green Lantern.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because back then he was. That's why he took off initially, because he was creating like Gundams. You know, he's like, here's a giant Gundam robot, and it's going to fight you, and fans are just like, this is amazing. Whereas previously you had Hal Jordan, and he was like, here are a pair of pliers to hold you in place.
I made a boxing glove.
His boxing glove. I love when the current writers will pull the boxing glove out just out of nowhere. What is?
Really quick. Apropos Green Lanterns in yellow and the Justice League cartoon show. Remember that very, very quiet reference to the color yellow thing they did, where they were just throwing things at John Stewart? You had the aura bubble, and they threw like, I don't know, a plate of bananas or something at him, and it's the only thing that goes through, and for no reason just blasted the bubble and hits him in the face, and he's like, what?
I didn't remember that at all.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
It's really cool. It's one very it was a very subtle, but very like it wasn't subtle at all. It was actually quite overt. But it was just a great moment where they were like, the color yellow is a real problem for the Lanterns, but the Guardians didn't tell them. And I'm like, that's cool. Let's do something with that. Nah, let's just cancel it.
See, to me...
Well, speaking of... Hold on, because we got to roll forward, Rob. We got to roll forward.
Yeah, we got to roll forward.
Speaking of CW shows, we've got announcements. I don't know anything about this. It's on the list of topics, though. Black Lightning getting a series. And all of your response says no one else knew this one either.
Hey, well, no, I knew about this, but I didn't hear that it was greenlit. What I read is that Greg Berlanti, the guy who produces all the other CW shows, is out there pitching a Green Lantern show, a Black Lantern show, Black Lightning. I can't say it right. Black Lightning show. We're still talking about Green Lantern so much, it's all over the brain, man. But yeah, I haven't heard
in the defense of this note, sometimes Joel will just grab the general topic, and it may not have been greenlit yet.
In my defense, Joel sucks. Just threw it right under the bus.
So as I'm reading this right now, it is not known yet whether the project will be included in the CW slew of superhero shows. As of right now, the production is pitching the concept to various networks.
Okay, well then let's talk about the idea of having a Black Lightning. Now, in my opinion, Black Lightning is super obscure. Why would we not just have, and the chat is 100% agreeing with me, and I haven't even said it yet, a Static Shock show? Why would we not just do that?
Oh. They never give him justice, man. Malibu's never gotten enough justice.
I mean, there's a very simple reason why. Like, I agree with you. It should be Static Shock. You want to know why?
Why?
Because Milestone Comics owns all the rights to those characters, so Warner Brothers cannot touch them right now.
I thought they just. I thought
Warner Brothers owned the Milestone stuff.
They own like, I'm not sure about the actual contractual pieces of it. Like,
right.
Like, Warner Brothers owns a piece of it, but Milestone a couple years ago got basically full creative control back of it.
Oh, I didn't know they got it back. That explains why the Static Shock New 52 comic kind of disappeared.
Yeah, now like I said, there's still Warner Brothers still owns a piece, and again, I don't know the exact contract or whatever, but that's the reason why we haven't seen any Milestone comic books. That's the reason why we haven't seen any Milestone's cartoons. The actual people who own Milestone haven't done anything with it.
Gotcha.
Right. That's nuts.
Because that is probably Static Shock is probably the most requested video on my channel. Because I only typically do stuff that's relevant, what's going on right now in comics, right?
Yeah.
And Static Shock has been relevant since the launch of the New 52, and I think that was like 6 issues, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm half inclined to make a Static Shock video just to see what would happen. Because people ask me, they're like, will you do Static Shock? And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll pair this up with a video that'll just do insanely well. And I'll just do Static Shock just to see. And I'm gonna crack up if this video breaks like 100,000 views. Yeah. Like it'll I don't think it will, but I'm gonna do it just to see if it does.
I will do the same thing.
It'd be funny.
Static Shock Origins, if I could find them.
The Static Shock challenge. I love this.
I will say, one of our fans sent us the original trade paperback of the Malibu book of Static Shock. They're like,
awesome.
Please do a back issues on Static Shock, and I'm like, Comics Explained just said he was joking about getting 100,000 views. So I'm gonna be making a Static Shock video anytime soon.
Yeah.
If you guys know anything about this, they even gave a description for what this show is about that I actually think kind of makes it exciting. So the report is that apparently the pitch for this is that Black Lightning is a retired superhero who is pulled. He has stopped being a superhero, but he becomes a superhero again, puts his costume back on after his daughter is recruited to a local gang. Because if you don't know, in the comic books, Jefferson Pierce he has two daughters who both have lightning powers just like him. So I'm kind of intrigued by this. If the aspect is that this is a retired superhero who has to sort of control and train his two daughters.
Right, that's kind of cool. Like I
love the realization of Sal's head. Yeah.
Well, I like that. It's like a father-daughter. It's like a father-daughter show, plus superheroes, plus like they're like. Yeah, that's cool. I'm down. Yeah, I'll watch that.
And Static Shock could pop up as a cameo.
No. All right. Here's my question, because I just want to see if I'm the only one. As soon as I saw this, where they were talking about Black Lightning for CW, did anybody think of that episode of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, where you had like Black Vulcan?
Black Vulcan.
Yes.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Super Bowl.
They had to call it that because they couldn't use lightning back in the day.
Yeah. It was.
Sensors.
Pure electricity in my pants.
Those are the same sensors that stopped the Human Torch from being in the Fantastic Four cartoon. They were like, kids will burn themselves. Put a Herbie robot in there.
Oh, I never watched, but that would make sense. I mean, it's dumb, but that's still
okay. I know kids aren't smart, but do you think any kid would be like, lighter fluid?
I don't know.
Why doesn't Johnny Storm complain about the burning?
Some people
I could see some kids somewhere would have done it. Like a kid somewhere would have been like, I want to be Johnny Storm, and just set him like just immolate himself. Oh my god!
Now just wait till all the reports come in the fall when like we learn that there's a mad rash of kids burning their dad's cars because they're like, Dad, I wanted to be like Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Oh my god.
That would be insane. I would laugh so hard. But no, like that's weird to me because both Stargirl and Black Lightning are characters that I've never heard of. I've never heard of Black Lightning before. You know, and that's I check that out just to see what it's about, because I'll be honest, the CW has rarely ever disappointed me. They made it like Shaft?
Yeah, he's one bad mother. Just talk about Black Lightning.
Wow. Wow, Benny.
I don't even know what that was.
God, man.
I shafted it up.
What's the next topic there, Benny?
That's the end of the show, then, technically.
Yeah, no. See, the CW has very rarely ever disappointed me in shows. The only exception to that is when it just went off the rails with Arrow. But aside from that, like the Flash is never disappointed.
Arrow's not off the rails. It is the best Batman TV show we've got on air right now.
Yes. Batman, Oliver Queen, you are amazing.
I was actually so happy with the latest episode, the latest season of Arrow, because I'm like, is he really gonna be Arrow? Like he's really gonna be the Green Arrow?
I was excited when they actually did, like, when they started like leaning towards that Judd Winnick storyline, like and all the mayoral aspirations, stuff like that. I was like, yes, this is the storyline I've been waiting since season 1 of this damn show. Let's see it.
Yeah.
So
what did you think about it?
I mean, I thought it was mostly good. My problem with season 4 is Damien Dark.
Yeah, that's the part I hated.
That Damien Dark, and I think we can. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but Oliver and Felicity have never been a relationship that worked for me.
No.
So when they were like, "This is the season they get together," I was like, "No."
I didn't like the Oliver Felicity situation, and I didn't like Damien Dark going from just some random hive scientist to this master magic guy, and I'm like,
yeah.
But I did love the Constantine crossover.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah,
I really wish they would have picked the show up from that, but they didn't.
I also like where the season 4 finale left us for season 5. Like, I think it leaves Arrow in a very interesting place. And if they can just pull off this season, I think Prometheus is a good choice for the villain. If they can pull off a season that harkens back to season 1, I think we'll be fine. So, and they've said no superpowers for this season, so I hope they hold to it.
See, that's cool because it gives you great character development, but the issue here isn't necessarily character development. The issue is the kind of characters that we're getting. And like Damien, I loved the whole like Ra's al Ghul thing. Like I loved that whole, and the guy who plot. Yeah, but the guy who played him was amazing. Like the guy who played Ra's al Ghul was amazing. Like I love that whole storyline. The issue is with the Damien. Like I got halfway through Damien Dark, and because he was just a villain of the weak guy. You know, he was like a guy wants to destroy the town. It's like, okay, well, there's nothing cool about that. There's no underlying plot about that, and so it ultimately turned me off. And I went back to the Flash, which still has villains of the week, but it's an overarching great storyline that spans the entirety of the season. But with Damien Dark, the same premise just didn't really resonate with me with him as a villain. And so, I don't really think it's powers or it's no powers. I think it is the characters that were given and the stories that are written. I think is really what kind of left me walking away from it.
I agree with you there, but I do think that Arrow, ever since the Flash has shown up, has like got this thing in its head where like they've got to throw superpowers against him because they're like, well, we got the show over here where the Flash is fighting all kinds of bee people, so now Arrow's got to fight the bee person, and you're like, no, Arrow does not need to fight the bee person. Arrow's a show when he can punch gangsters in the face. That's and ninjas in the face. Like that's when the show rocks. Like I get that we have superpowers in this world and stuff like that, but and I agree with you that it is a thing of like the one thing, the biggest problem about the Damien Dark arc was that like Damien Dark was so overpowered compared to Oliver, and a guy with arrows can't beat him. No matter what he does,
the moment he stopped the arrows in midair, I'm like, what's the plan now? Like, he just literally arrows one trick out the window. Now what?
Yeah, he's going to throw a rock.
Well, I mean, that's a big difference, though, is the Flash he moves at super speed. Mm-hmm. Oliver Queen is just super accurate. Now, it's probably too late to do this, but the Oliver Queen I want is a cocky, arrogant Oliver Queen. Like, I want the guy that just never takes anything seriously. That's the guy that I want.
Well, we were now it's probably too late to do that. Personality shift in season 4, where they were finally like, "Oh, you guys want Green Arrow? You didn't want Batman, right? Okay, we'll just go over towards Norm."
Yeah, you did get a little bit of that.
Yeah, the issue is I noticed.
My wife and I both noticed the actor Stephen Amell's octave in his voice. He went from being really good, more kind of like more happy, go lucky in the 4th season. Like,
he barely disguises his voice anymore. But it's interesting too. We were talking about you're talking about the Flash. That it's almost like for me, the Flash this season had the opposite problem where I almost think Barry is so overpowered that any villain you give him, he should be able to beat like that. But what they do sometimes in the Flash, and I love the Flash to death, but like sometimes what they do on the Flash, okay, they are in Star Labs, surrounded by who should be the smartest scientists on the planet. And sometimes those people act like real dummies.
Yes, I do. I also love, and it's actually and everyone who knows me knows that Flash is like Flash and Green Lantern are my two favorite superheroes. But I've always found the Flash answer to every problem to be the funniest thing in the world because it's the same thing in the TV show. Just run a little faster. Just run a little faster.
It is.
Just
if I run a little bit faster,
images of yourself.
That's the problem with the Flash.
That is, yeah. The Flash is a
every
great hero.
discussion I've ever had, I'm like, and then he ran even faster than he's ever run.
Because I do the dramatic readings of the books, and we did the entire New 52 Flash run, and so like at the conclusion of every arc, I had to end it with, and then he ran even faster.
I mean, like, your thing is running. If you don't run faster, what's the point? Like,
He
literally,
just ran so fast.
It's not like he's gonna be like, and then he realized he could shoot lasers out of his eyes. Like, no, he's always gonna run, and it's always got to be a little faster than the last time.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's
the thing where he like tries to run so fast, and he's like, I can never run that fast again. I literally can't run that fast.
Well, and that's my problem with like constantly having speedster villains. Like if we're gonna do every season with a speedster villain, it's just like every season you're gonna tell me that this speedster villain's faster than the last one, and I'm like, oh.
They're like,
when do we hit infinite? When does that happen?
Oh, dude, I'm waiting. Like, I'm waiting for. I don't know if you guys remember back
during
during
Black Racer. Here's running Outrun of Death. We got nothing left.
Outrun of Death. Back during Mark Waid's run on Wally West in the 90s, there was a story where he outran the universe. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yes.
But like, he was like empowered by the people on Earth, and he outran the universe. And I was like, is this what we're doing now? Like, we've got guys running so fast they're outrunning the universe in which they live. Like, is this? They're just outrunning their existence. Basically, like their plane of existence.
One of the best storylines I like, if you're talking about older storylines, was the original Black Flash storyline. And the Black Flash storyline was great because he lost his powers and he had to regain
that's
them.
A Grant Morrison storyline.
Right, exactly. And the moment that he got his powers back, the answer was run faster.
Well, see, there were a couple of moments though from the newest season, from season 2 of the Flash, that things that I kind of wish they'd put in there. Like, one thing I want to see at some point, like when he got pulled into the Speed Force, I thought it'd be a great time to like introduce the Black Racer, because that's what I thought it was, like that entity that was floating around.
For those guys, because people in the chat are confused about it, Black Racer and the Black Flash are different individuals.
Oh yeah, I know they're two distinctly different individuals, but I thought no, the entity that was running around and was actually chasing after Jay Garrick, like that tracked him down and grabbed him at the end of the season. I thought that was the Black Racer when
I
it
thought
first
so
showed
too
up.
until Speed Wraiths. What?
Yeah, Speed
That's
Wraiths.
not even a thing. Now you're making up faster things.
I also thought that when he went into the Speed Force, I thought it was a missed opportunity because I was so waiting for this old man to show up. And Barry was like, "Who are you?" And this old man just knows everything about running and speed. And then at the very end, I wanted to be like, "My name is Max Mercury."
Yeah.
Oh god, dude, that would have been so amazing. Like I'm the first of all of you.
Yeah, I was the first speedster. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, but no, like one of the when he got pulled into the Speed Force and he came out, I was wanting to see that scene from Final Crisis where Barry Allen comes back for the first time, and like he comes out of the Speed Force and he's just like, run, and they all just take off running. Like I wanted to see that. You know,
that is one of the best lines ever.
Oh
him
yes.
yelling and run as he comes out of the Speed Force. Back on the Flash topic, I feel like that's what the Flash show is just going to end eventually, because the season 1 hyped up the Infinite Crisis like finale. That's where it's got to end.
Yeah.
And now we got Supergirl in the universe, so she can die too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Supergirl being in that universe now.
Yeah.
I'm curious what they're gonna do with her and the Flash. I mean, I know there'll be team ups and stuff, but in terms of like rolling her over, dude, I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
That's why I was actually gonna disagree with your Arrow thing. You're saying no powers? I mean, they're not gonna do that. They got Supergirl now.
Yeah, she's Supergirl. Yeah.
Well, see to me that was one of the biggest issues. Is even with Arrow and Flash, they've only crossed over a handful of times. They're both in the CW, and just by extension of that, you're like they're in the same place. They share the same universe. And then you got Supergirl over here out in the middle of no man's land by herself, and it isolates her. It removes her from that whole shared universe. But to put her on the CW means that she's now part of that universe. And even if she ever only shows up like 1 or 2 times, it still creates like a great shared universe concept. And almost anything's possible. So now with Supergirl into the equation, like you've got an entire season of The Flash where you just have her and Supergirl crossing over for a full season worth of a story arc. That creates, endless possibilities.
I'm going to be really disappointed if at the end, and I know individuals on our show probably can't reveal anything on this, but I'm going to be really disappointed if at the end of Flashpoint, they don't merge National City into the proper CW universe.
I mean, they're bringing in Cat, so I assume they do that.
That's what I said. I know there's certain divisions that can't discuss this one, but I'm going to be really disappointed if they're like, oh crap, we should have totally done that. Let's do another multiversal thing.
That would actually be a pretty decent arc. Is her trying to save her city?
Yeah, and she merges it in because of that. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one more topic people want us to touch on before we close out the official show and stop the recording, and that is the topic of Shocker, which I didn't know why you guys were all saying that, but I guess he's going to be on Homecoming.
They released images of him.
Yeah.
Dude, he looks good. He looks like a guy that got his stuff from. God, what's the name of that? The Tinkerer. Yeah, he looks like a guy that got his stuff from the Tinkerer. Like it looks like homemade tools that he used to make it, and it looks great.
Oh, those are the images I saw on Twitter. I was like, who the fuck is this yellow dude?
He looks so terrible. It's great.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't believe they actually got the crisscross pattern.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. See, that's something I didn't think they'd have. I thought they just kind of have. Dude, it's a far cry from that goofy Electro that we saw.
Oh man.
They're finally doing what they've been doing what I've been begging for since Tobey Maguire, which is get the D-list Spider-Man villains. You're never gonna do a Mysterio movie. Grab a whole bunch of random and just open the movie with them. Spider-Man 2 should have opened with him defeating Ben Kingsley as the Vulture. Spider-Man 3 should have opened with him defeating Shocker. That scene where he defeats Sandman in Spider-Man 3, and he's like, "Where do these guys come from?" I'm like, that's where you use Sandman. You don't waste a whole movie with him. You just open the movie with Sandman, and he gets away. That's your movie. Shocker is going to be great because either you're going to have... I assume they're going to be borrowing a lot of Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, which means they're going to see a lot of, Hi, Herman. He's going to be dealing with Shocker, constantly. He's going to be constantly either, practically accidentally defeating Shocker by being, at the wrong place at the wrong time. Shocker's like, oh, my God, you're here again! What are you going to... That's amazing. I'm totally down.
I give up!
And see, this is why having Spider-Man in a shared universe works so well, because then suddenly you've got a point in the movie Spider-Man Homecoming where he was like, God, I really don't know how to deal with this. Hey, Tony Stark, do you have any ideas? And Tony Stark's, try these few things. And then he does that, and then he wins.
Did you hear that Happy Hogan's also going to be in
I was just going to bring that up.
I did not hear that. Happy Hogan's going to be in Homecoming? Hell yeah.
I assume that's because they're gonna I assume that it's gonna be Spider, what you said, Rob, where it's gonna be Spider-Man's oh my God, these villains are coming out of the woodwork. I need help, but he tries to call Iron Man and he can't get him. And the closest thing he can get is Happy Hogan being Tony asked me to come over and give you these things. So you teasing the idea you're never gonna see Robert Downey Jr. until the end of the movie. Just
And then, okay, dude, Jason, so I don't know if you saw my tweet, but tell me what you think about this. So my post-credit scene for Spider-Man Homecoming was that Peter Parker gets an invitation to join the Future Foundation.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I wish that could happen.
Yeah.
But, man.
That's never going to happen. But that was my dream, is they get the rights back to the Fantastic Four, and Reed's like, hey, let's just have kids make the world a better place. And so Peter Parker gets to be part of it. I would just be like, yes, but we're probably just going to see the Iron Spider.
My counter for that, by the way, was that Tony Stark comes into the apartment he owns the place, like he did in the last movie, and he goes through Pete's mail, and he sees a letter from the Future Foundation, and he throws it in the garbage.
Oh, God, that'd be hilarious.
That would be a fun, Easter egg, if that does happen.
Nope, he's mine, Richards. That's your...
I actually hope it's something because I think we're gonna see the Iron Spider armor in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
I think it would be awesome if the end credits scene was Tony Stark going up to his armory and he's pressing the button, moving the suits, and then you see the gray and black Spider-Man armor suit come up.
Oh
and he's
my God!
And he's like, I'm glad I didn't choose that one. Click.
Yeah. Just goes to the incinerator.
Yep.
They're not beyond that. We saw the end of Ant-Man where it's just scene, character looks at cool armor you'll never see in a movie. Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh no, we'll see that in Ant-Man too.
I know, but it's just when.
On a side note, it's the weirdest thing ever that the new comic books decided to make a new Wasp.
Right?
Yeah, that's interesting to me. I don't know why they chose that.
Yeah.
Let's make a brand new Wasp right before this movie comes out, featuring the other Wasp.
Well, it's not even the other Wasp. It's like another other Wasp. It's Janet Van Dyne's daughter, not Hank Pym's illegitimate daughter.
I'm gonna laugh if like in the end, like she opens up the second movie, she's like, by the way, my real name's Nadine. I don't know why everyone was saying these other names before.
Yeah, Hope. No,
I'm not Hope. My name's Nadine. Hope is actually a nickname.
Yeah.
And I'm actually Hank Pym's illegitimate daughter.
Right.
Read up on it. There's a history for that.
Yeah. It's called Marvel Comics. It's in this universe over here.
Yeah.
Like, read that. No, I'd be so disappointed. I'd be so angry. I'd
All right,
probably
guys.
just walk
Well,
out
on
of the
that
theater
note,
right then.
let's end the recording situation of this. So for those guys who are joining us for the first time ever, this is the Weekly Poll. It's our weekly podcast that we bring you every Tuesday, and we talk about all the pop culture, movies and comic books and TV shows and random stuff. I think the only thing we've ever not talked about on here is wrestling. But anyway,
no, you did the whole wrestling thing. I think like you and I think Rob and Joel talked about wrestling for a good like 25 minutes. I read a comic.
All right. Oh, we talked about that too. And don't forget to join us on Thursdays when we do our comic book review show, The Pull. But don't forget, I'm Benny the Comic Historian, and we just had a subscription from T Monkey. Rob,
T Monkey Splooge. Thank you.
Jason's a little more quiet about it. He's like, I'll clap.
Yep. I'll clap. I'll clap politely.
Thank you.
But no, I'm Benny the Comic Historian. I read comic books dramatically over my channel. Rob is from Comics Explained. He explains comics. He's literally got a better naming scheme than me.
By the way, guys, like, so I thought that our Xavier Protocols session was finished, but somebody was like, no, man, like, here is a link to a ton of new Xavier, like all the Xavier Protocols. So there's like a ton of Xavier Protocols to go over. So, yeah, I guess that's not done. That'll be fun.
Sal is from the team over at ComicPOP, where they bring you lovely discussion shows every day of the week and reviews on your favorite comic books. And Jason is, I was going to say doing the reviews, but you don't do that anymore, Jason. So why don't you tell them what you do, Jason, since you're the newest member of the cast.
YouTube.com/JAWIIN, all kinds of geeky conversations and stuff like that. Books you should read, all kind of crazy conversations. And every weekday, DC All Access over the DC Entertainment YouTube channel.
Yep.
There you go.
I didn't want to promote this. Thanks, Benny. That's a show I did a year ago.
Yeah. It's mainly me just talking.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good topic to have. But
there you go.
Yeah, so those are your hosts for today. Don't worry, guys. Joel hasn't gone anywhere. We just didn't want to have tons of people talking over each other on these topics today. But
Exactly.
It'll be Joel, me, Sal, and Caitlin McAtee over on the Thursday show this week. So don't forget to join us for that one. And now we're going to end our recording. So if you're watching this on ComicPOP or Comic TV, thank you so much. If you're watching this live streamed, which we do every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, don't forget to hang around for about 10 more minutes while we answer your questions more directly.